Welcome to Clearing the Haze, Making the Invisible Visible, a podcast show that discusses topics that are usually invisible or just hazy. Our focus in this episode is transgender and family reconstruction. The term transgender describes a person's gender identity that does not necessarily match their assigned sex at birth. This word is also sometimes used as an umbrella term to describe groups of people who transcend conventional expectations of gender identity or expression. Transgender people may or may not decide to alter their bodies hormonally and or surgically to match their gender identity. Today, we have with us two eminent personalities, Nila and Jesulyn Divya, with whom we will discuss their experiences and learn from them challenges and aha moments. With Nila being a trans woman and with Jesulyn, inequalities faced by trans people. Jesulyn is a student of Alliance Francis Madras, finalist of Eloquentia Competition 2019 on inequalities in transgender speech.
With that, I begin my conversation with Nila. Nila, welcome to our show. To begin with, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Hey, hello everyone. Very good morning. And I'm Nila. I'm a trans woman. I'm a social worker. I stay in Chennai, Perumbakam. I completed my graduation in B Pharmacy. I am the founder and director of Form Foundation, a public charitable trust which is working towards education, employment, and healthcare. I'm working as a community consultant in Periphery, an organization working towards a transgender employment, and also working as an artist in Aravani Art Project, and also as a volunteer in Start India Foundation. I did my photography project in Chennai Photo Banale with Alliance Franchise and Goethe Institute.
Thank you, Nila. You are doing quite a lot and pursuing such varied interests. Thank you so much for the introduction. I will now ask Jesulyn. Jesulyn, tell us a bit about yourself and how you got interested in lives of trans people.
Hello everyone, I'm Jesulyn Divya. I'm a student and currently pursuing B.Ed in Royal College of Education, Chennai. As you said, in 2019, I was preparing for Eloquentia and the topic given was inequalities. Most of them decided to go with the classic one, inequalities between men and women. But what came to my mind was the reply my professor gave when we asked her why transgender aren't accepted into our college. She said that it was because the mission statement says the college aims to provide education to women, only women. One single word, women, that was the problem there. That very moment, I realized how hard it is for a trans person to get education and also how privileged I am. And I also felt that in the constant battle for gender equality between men and women, we tend to forget the existence of these people and their struggles. So I decided that this is what I'm going to talk about, and I hoped it would make a difference. So that's where it all started.
Thank you, Jesulyn. That's so interesting. Your college not admitting trans women made you focus on challenges and inequalities faced by trans women. I hope there are many more people like you who are enthused to talk and highlight inequalities faced by people. Thank you. Nila, when did you know you are differently gendered? How did you disclose or come out to your parents? Can you share your story?
Yes. At the age of 18, I realized my gender identity. And until that, I thought a girl trapped in a male's body. At the age of 27, my parents, they forced me to get married. But feeling as a girl and going to get married a girl, it's a different feeling. I can't imagine because I felt I'm a girl. At the time only, I revealed all my secrets, who I am and what is the difference between me and my two brothers who are transgenders, what is transition, what is SRS, what are hormones, and about breast implant. Everything I revealed my secrets to my parents. And at the time, my mother was crying and she's not accepted me. She was just crying. And I tried to convince her, but no use. Finally, she came and told me that I'll bring you to the doctor and he will inject you. Definitely, you might be changed. I said, being a pharmacist, the injection name is testosterone. If you inject only, the hairs will grow, nothing will happen, I said. Then later, my mother's sister, she came and she said, like, we will do some pujas for you, you might be changed. I said, if you have hope in that, make it rain. She slapped me. Finally, my cousin, he came and he told me, like, we want to break his knee so that he can't go anywhere. So let him be as such in the home. He said, finally, I just went to my mother and I tried to convince, but no use. At last, I said, like, you gave me a birth, this is one life, and let me live my life. So if you want me to live and enjoy my life, please accept me as who I am. If not, please murder me, I said. And she finally cried and she went off. In that same night, I just escaped to Pudukkottai district because really I was afraid of that. My brother, if he killed me, what should I do then? Nothing happened after that, right? So I just escaped. So that is the time I revealed all my secrets.
Thank you, Nila. It is so much difficult to especially accept when our own parents doubt who we are or what our intention is. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll come back to you with more questions now to Jesulyn. Jesulyn, people are still unaware of the challenges trans people go through. Can you share some of the findings?
Yes, right from education and healthcare to immigration and identification, these people face a number of challenges throughout their lives. And it becomes all the more worse when they lack the support of their families. Especially after coming out, some of them even get killed by their own family. And if they manage to leave their family and try to live on their own, they have trouble finding a job. They even have difficulty in finding a place to stay. So this is where the transgender communities come in. There are several transgender communities in India, and some of them are Hoti, Hijras, Arbanis, Tirunangais, Jogtas, etc. They live together in small groups, they connect with other transgender individuals, and they support each other. It makes them feel the most comfortable when they are surrounded by the people who have had similar experiences and who can actually empathize with them. These communities also help out the newer transgender people through mentoring and guiding them through the transition process. However, they still have a hard time to find their place in the society with all the discrimination, stigma, and stereotypes going on. They're even deprived of the basic rights such as education, healthcare, job opportunities, renting a house, even accessing appropriate restrooms. Apart from this, one of the most common things is that people may call them using incorrect and disrespectful names. Their birth names, sexual orientation, and other private information can be rudely questioned. The problem is, at times, it may not be intentional. I feel ashamed to admit, but I was one of them. I have used inappropriate names to address them. And the reason I would say is the society around me, my family, and the lack of education about this subject. Nobody really talked to me about them. So, like you said, people are still very unaware of the challenges trans people go through. And I think the solution would be to create awareness and to educate people.
So rightly said, Jesulyn. There is still so much we don't understand. There is still so much that people believe that we are only binary men and women. What about the range that is there from a man to a woman and to a woman to a man? We have to start acknowledging and accept that it is not just humans are binary, but we are a range of people. Nila, to you, you mentioned that you ran away from home. Can you share a little bit about your journey from there to today? What happened? How did you survive?
Initially, when I had no job, no money, I ran away from my home to Pudukkottai district, where my trans community accepted me as who I am and a daughter for a transgender mother called Jayabharati Amma. And she was running an organization called Udayam Trust in Pudukottai. And it is working for the AIDS Prevention and Control Project. Being a daughter, I helped my mother a lot. And I'm very happy to say that I was working for the welfare of my community too. So after a few years, my parents, they called me and they wanted me to come back to Chennai and to stay with them. So at that time, I felt very happy because acceptance is more important than begging and sex work. So even my family accepted me. That is my God's grace. So I came to Chennai and I hugged mother and I kissed my mother. I'm very happy that she accepted me. Finally, she placed two conditions. He accept you, but there are two conditions. I said, what? They told me, like, one is no sex work, another is no begging. So if we accept you and if you do the same, definitely see your brothers. They didn't get married. My younger brothers got married at that time. So, he will feel shy. Even my relatives, even our neighbors, what the answer we will tell to them. So instead of that, we accept you and you have to become a role model for your community, they said. Finally, I become very cushy and I was searching for the job in Chennai. At that time, I felt, insulting many times, To create a resume, we have to stick a photo. So I went to a studio to get a photograph. At that time, when I tried to enter, he said no, you just don't come. Out. We don't have change to give you. Out, they said. I was just thinking why the society is like, he didn't ask me for what purpose you came in. And he didn't give a respect to me, right? So I felt very insulted. I just went off. So twice, thrice, I felt the same issues. And later, when I was doing my college, 2010, I registered my trust, this foundation. But after that, when my family has not accepted me, I just dropped that. I was been in my community. So I tried to work on that. So I tried to go to an auditor to get the legal advice. At that time, one receptioner who was sitting in the entrance, when I entered, he was, after seeing me, he said oh, no, please don't do anything, he said. I simply went in front of him and I was asking see, I'm like your sister. Did I do anything? Why you are so doing like a drama things and all? He just said, sorry, madam. So I told him that I came for this purpose. I want to get a legal advice to the auditor, from the auditor, I said. He said he went to lunch, please come after an hour. So even I followed. I came after an hour. While I entering, another man also entered with me. He first entered and that receptioner, he said sir, can you wait for 2 minutes? He is in meeting, sir. He is in call, he said. And when I asked about this auditor, he said no, madam, he's out of station, he said. See, that made me so angry, and then I felt insulted and I was asking him, see, being a transgender, I'm trying to work for the society, but always you people are insulting me. Why, I asked. He said, no. So on the same argument, people from the auditor room, everybody, they came out and they said why you are creating some problems here? Just out, they said. I said, these things, no, nobody is not ready to listen my words. Finally, the auditor came and he said, I'm not interested to work for you. Just get out, he said. And at that time, I felt very insulted. And at that time, I was thinking, no, I should not go and work anywhere. I should stay at home. I thought like that. And I was sitting in my home. At the time, I got a call from an organization called Periphery. They are working for the trans employment. And they wanted me to come to their office and they gave their business card. And they said Nila, we appointed you as a community organizer and you have to find out the potential and talents from the transgender and you have to support us for giving a trans employment, they said. I was very happy. Even I was searching for my single job, but God placed me in a work to give more people an employment. So how it is, just imagine, this is the miracle of God. And they gave the business a card and I was surprised because behind that card, it was written one chance. I thought God gave me a chance to redeem myself and to live with my family. So from that time, I'm very privileged to work in Periphery. And later, I told about this Form Foundation and they supported me to start this Form Foundation. And now, I'm very, very happy and proud to say that in our organization, 25 to 30 people are studying tailoring. And they completed their 3 months. And next month, we are going to give them tailoring machine for free, absolutely. And even we are undertaking tuition for communications classes and everything. I'm really proud because in this life, we live for few years only, but what we give to the society after our absence, that is very important. So name is very important, and what the work we left here, so that is very important. So I'm very happy to tell you all this. And how my transition happened is like, instead of changing everything in legal, I decided that I should change myself physically first. So started growing hairs, wearing my sister clothes. I applied and received third gender ID card from the district social welfare office. And in Chennai Gazette office, I changed my birth name and all the proofs and documents into third gender name and consulted doctors for this hormonal therapy and sex reassignment surgery. And finally I did. And I underwent the breast implant also.
Thank you, Nila. Oh my God.
Thank you.
That's so much. You're such a resilient person. You must have a lot of patience, perseverance, and resilience to go through all that you've done. You're just simply awesome. Thank you for sharing so much with us about your experiences and about your success. To just add to what Nila said about her SRS surgery, let me give a little brief about what transition means to different people. For some, it means medical treatments, including use of hormones and gender-affirming surgeries. For others, it means social transition, which might include things such as choosing a new name or altering outward appearance with clothing or hairstyles. There is also legal transition, which is the process of changing names and gender markers on important legal documents such as birth certificate, passport, or Aadhaar cards, and others, which Nila outlined in her experience of what she did and how she went about. And for those of you who don't know what is SRS, it is simply sex reassignment surgery, which is an option. Some people take that up and some people do not. Whichever way it is, our best bet is to accept people for who they are. Thank you so much, Nila, once again for sharing your experience and your journey with us. Some of these things, like walking into a photographer's showroom or walking into an auditor's office, is what we take for granted. It's an understanding that it's a privilege that some of us do not experience. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now I move to Jesulyn. Jesulyn, in your journey of understanding what trans people go through, can you let us know what you wish public knew about transgender people? Nila did share her experience where two of the people wanted to shoo her away. One of them was scared of her. Why? What is so different about them? Why are people experiencing or sharing these kind of thoughts about them? Anything that you can share with us, Jesulyn?
So I just wish everyone understands the fact that they are just like us, a normal human being. So you just have to accept the fact that they are one of us and treat them as an equal. That's it. It's as simple as that. So just think about it. At the end of the day, we all want to be happy and be ourselves. It is the same for these people. It's really sad to know that people have so much hatred for a person who just wants to be themselves. It's unbelievable, you know. And I would like to quote the words of Mercedes Ruehl, an American actress. She said, "Nature chooses who will be transgender. Individuals don't choose this." To all those who think being trans is just a phase, I want you to understand that transgender are born. It's neither a phase nor a choice.
Thanks, Jesulyn. I think we need to amplify the voice. Trans people are born. It is not a phase or a choice. Thank you so much. Nila, after all the experiences that you've gone through, what do you think is one of the biggest or the most common misconception about trans people?
So many people are thinking transgender as untouchable, as swindler, as beggar, as prostitute, as illiterate, and the people, they are not in status. They are thinking like that. But this is totally wrong. Few people might be a beggar and sex worker, but not all the transgenders. This is overall from the society, this perspective. And among the transgender community, many transgenders are just dominating the younger transgenders, and they want to take the control of the younger transgenders. And many transgenders see the younger transgender as the price tags and like ATMs. So whenever they need money, they will just knock the youngsters. They want to have a control on them. So this is totally wrong. This should not be happening even in the community too, because all the trans people need freedom and they wish freedom and they love freedom. So that we are coming out from the family and we are just going and surrender in a group where the people accept us as who we are, right? So if the domination is happening in the same group, what will happen? Will the people be happy? No, not at all. Then again, they want to escape from the second family. So every transgender has two families. One is biological family and another one is transgender family. So these two families should accept the trans people as who they are and give the freedom to the transgender as how they want, really. If this happens, definitely the misconception will not enter into the world.
Thanks, Nila. Some of the misconceptions are actually the norm in most communities. I mean, you have people from all trade in every community, but it's just that the transgenders are getting a bad name. And like you mentioned, if the dominance is reduced and if people are more educated about who trans people are, we will have less and less issues on these terms. Thank you, Nila. Jesulyn, can you share some of the inequalities trans people face that others don't usually face? And how can we help?
So, every individual's life is a struggle, but being transgender just makes it all the more difficult. In everything that they do, anywhere that they go, they face a lot of obstacles and hardships unlike other people. But the government has indeed taken so many steps for the empowerment of the transgender community by supporting their education, housing, access to health care, skill development, employment opportunities, and financial assistance. Apart from this, there are a number of NGOs who work for the betterment of their lives. And all these has made a remarkable change, and there are so many trans people who have broken all the barriers and are in great positions today. But once they manage to get into a school, college, or workplace, they are treated differently, and they face a lot of discrimination, stigma, harassment, and abuse. All these is because of the mindset of the people in our society, and that cannot be changed by any law or government schemes. It can be done only by us. Also, the social construct and acceptance in our country is different when it comes to trans men, that is female to male transition. Some people in India, they accept their decision in the beginning and classify it as tomboyish behavior. But the problem begins when the individuals want to transition, have surgeries, or they want to have a partner. So trans men are highly invisibilized and marginalized. There are so many of them out there who are experiencing gender dysphoria or questioning their own gender. And the sad part is most of them are not even aware that such a group exists. Compared to trans women, trans men do not have much alternate support systems like the Hijra community. And unlike the strong external visibility and the sense of community that the trans women enjoy, trans men lack safe spaces and shelters. These are very important when they are transitioning. And there have been cases of young trans boys who have been abused and raped while trying to find a home to live in. And the patriarchal notions make it even more challenging for trans men to get SRS done. They are often questioned as to why they want to get a healthy uterus removed and opt out of childbirth. So you see, as an individual, what can you do to help them? You can employ them in your company. You can rent your house to them. You can simply stand up for them whenever needed and support them. And in addition to all this, you can encourage your friends and family to do this. Also, as a parent, you can educate your child about this least discussed topic. As a teacher, you can educate your students. And I strongly believe that education and awareness would bring about a great change and lead to a better future.
Thanks, Jesulyn. You are bringing up so many different things in this conversation. We were first talking only about trans women, and now you introduce the challenges that trans men also face. Indeed, the society has a lot to do to make everyone acceptable. And I really liked your simple suggestions of welcoming them and doing what you can do within your circle of influence. Thank you for sharing these inputs. I'm sure our listeners will be encouraged and do a lot more on this. Nila, what would be your key message to our listeners today?
So I'm expecting a small thing from the society, as everything is inside us. So I've written an abbreviations for the word transgender. So in this, everyone can understand what we expect from the society. T, treat us equal. R, respect us as you want others to respect you. A, allow us to prove our potential. N, never limit us based on gender. Yes, societal acceptance is the need of the hour. G, gender phobia should not exist. E, employ us for our talents and interests. N, national priority should be inclusive society. D, to show us some love. E, enable us, empower us, and we will reach great heights. Thank you.
Wow, that's such a wonderful message to all our listeners. I want to actually put this up everywhere so people remember and start actually following what you said. And honestly, I felt that what you mentioned for transgender can actually become an anthem for everybody in the society. Jesulyn, tell us more about how can we be an ally?
So for those who don't know, allies are people who are not LGBTQ themselves, but support the cause and stand up for the individuals in the community. So first of all, try to use inclusive language as much as possible. For example, instead of addressing a group of people as ladies and gentlemen, try to use words like guests or colleagues so that no gender is assumed there. Don't ask for their real name. And if you don't know what pronouns to use, all you have to do is just ask them directly. Next, if someone chooses to come out to you, it means that they trust you. So make sure you honor that trust by checking with them before telling anyone. The most important thing, don't make assumptions about their sexual orientation. Then avoid questions about their genitals, surgical status, or sex life. One of the most important things is to challenge anti-transgender remarks or jokes whenever they are said and no matter who says them. Just call it out whenever you hear it. Then avoid black-handed compliments and the so-called helpful tips like, you look just like a real woman. You would look better if you wore more makeup. While you may intend to be more supportive, comments like these can actually be hurtful and even insulting. So finally, the most important thing of all is to talk to the people around you and educate them. Encourage them to be allies too.
Thank you, Jesulyn. I think the most important, which we've been talking through this conversation today, has been awareness, educate, sensitize. Awareness, educate, sensitize. 3 simple words with a lot of meaning and a lot of work that each one of us have to agree and accept to do. Thank you.
Thank you for listening in. For this episode, we would like to thank our 2 guests, Nila Ma and Jesulyn Divya E, the Alliance Francaise of Madras, Bruno Classi, Director of Alliance Francaise of Madras, the French Embassy, the French Institute, and the Alliance Francaise Network in India for producing the show. And our special thanks to Hemant Sarang and his team for their advice and technical support. Please do subscribe and review the show, available on various podcasting platforms and on the website airindia.org/podcast. Listen in to the voices that are often invisible but powerful enough to clear the haze. And we end this episode with this wonderful rap song by the multi-talented Nila. Enjoy.
டாக்டர் சொன்னது 10 மாசம், நானும் பிறந்தது 1 மாசம். ஆனா பொண்ணான்னு கேட்டாங்க, என்ன ஆணுன்னு கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. பார்க்காம தருப்பசங்க என்னை பார்த்து சிரிப்பாங்க ஸ்கூல் பசங்க. எனக்கே தெரியாது நான் ஏன் இப்படி மெதுவா உணர்ந்த நான் அப்படி ஏன் பிறந்தேன், நான் ஏன் பிறந்தேன் இந்த பாவம் நிறைஞ்ச உலகத்துல. பிரச்சனை என்னன்னு கேட்டாங்க என் மதரு. பக்கத்துல சாப்பிட்டோம் எனக்கு என் பிரதரு. சொல்ல தாங்கல மதரோட மைண்டு. அதனால விழுந்தாங்க கிருகிருன்னு சண்டு. பேசாம இருந்தாங்க பல மாசமா. நான் செத்து பழச்சுங்க விசரவாசமா. வீட்டை விட்டு போனேங்க அவசரமா. நங்கைய பிறந்தாலே இவ்வளவு ப்ராப்ளமா. ஏன் பிறந்தேன், நான் ஏன் பிறந்தேன் இந்த பாவம் நிறைஞ்ச உலகத்துல. காதலிச்சேன் ஒரு பையனுங்க, நான் ஏமாறுவேன் எனக்கு தெரியாதுங்க. தினம் அவனை எண்ணி நான் காலேஜ்ல படிச்சேன் கண்ணீர். அதனால ஃபீலும் பண்ணி நான் சாக துணிஞ்சேன் ஞானி. தப்பு பண்ணேங்க தலைமறைவா. என்ன தப்பு பேசுனாங்க தெருவா. அப்ப டவுட் இல்ல யாருக்கும், இப்ப கன்ஃபார்ம் ஆயிட்டேன் எல்லாருக்கும். ஏன் பிறந்தேன், நான் ஏன் பிறந்தேன் இந்த பாவம் நிறைஞ்ச உலகத்துல.